Welcome to Best Buds Gardening. I'm Julie. Let's talk about how to grow double yield cucumbers from seeds. Double yield cucumbers are very heat tolerant, and the more you pick, the more they produce, and they're ready in about 50 days. They're also beautiful plants with delicate yellow blossoms. I think they're prettier than ivy. But let's start at the beginning, when we put 4 seeds into a damp paper towel to germinate. All right, 2 of our cucumbers have germinated, and normally I would just go out and plant them in the ground, but I live in Kansas and I am not going to plant them out today or tomorrow because we are expecting tornadic activity, at the very least some very strong thunderstorms, and I don't want that much rain on my brand newly planted little germinated seeds. So I'm going to make a temporary housing situation here out of some newspaper. And you just get a strip of paper, get a spice jar. I'm folding this edge down just simply to make a cleaner top, that it's not cooperating. And leave yourself some room at the bottom of the jar. I mean, don't do it all the way. Leave yourself a little bit of flooring there. And you just roll this up, and it doesn't have to be a spice jar, you know, anything round you got. What we're doing is we're making a temporary flower pot because cucumbers don't like to be transplanted. But the newspaper pots, we can just plant those directly in the ground. So this is going to buy us a couple of days of temporary housing, and then I'm going to pull this up a little bit because I didn't leave myself quite enough room. You can kind of pretend you're wrapping Christmas presents. And then what you do is slip your jar out. I'm going to grab some soil. And you just fill your newspaper pot up. And then I'm going to take my cucumbers and I'm just going to lay them on top of that. Be very careful not to damage the roots. If the roots have grown into the paper towel at all, just cut around the paper towel with a pair of scissors and you can plant that little piece of paper towel. It's not going to hurt a thing. And just lay him in there. And then we're just going to cover them up a little bit with about a 1/4 inch of soil, 1/8 inch of soil, just like so. These other ones that haven't germinated yet, I'm going to stick back into the plastic baggie, and we will wait on them to do their thing. You know, every seed is different, just like every person. Some just germinate faster, some germinate a little bit slower. All right, now I'm going to give these guys a good watering. And this will buy us the day or two that we need till we can get these planted outside. And then when we do, like I said, we can just plant this whole pot, and we'll come back in a couple of days after the storms have passed and we'll do that. Thank goodness I did not plant my cucumber seeds directly into the ground. They would be washing up and moving all over the yard to God knows where. Well, it's a couple of days later. Our cucumbers are up out of the soil in their little pots, and it's time to plant them outside now that the storms have passed. If you trellis these, you only have to plant them about 8 inches apart. So I'm going to start off with 4 cucumber plants. I don't really need that many, but I always plant a little extra because something might happen to one. And we're going into straight compost here. Cucumbers are very heavy feeders, but if we start out with good compost, which I just got from the compost site, We don't have to fertilize these guys for the rest of the time. And these little newspaper pots are going to break down pretty quickly and actually add some more good stuff into the soil. And you can kind of tear these down a little bit if you're uncomfortable seeing a little bit of newspaper above the soil, but the newspaper really breaks down fast. And you just plop them right into the ground. We're not disturbing the cucumber's roots. And this little guy here is kind of my runt. And if he doesn't hurry up and do something, he's going to be the one that gets pulled. But we're going to give him a chance and stick him in the ground anyway. All right, in about 50 days, we're going to start harvesting some cucumbers. It's about a week later. Our cucumber plants are doing amazing, and I've put some chicken wire over the top of them for some bunny rabbit protection. Mr. Bunny Rabbit, who lives under my porch, loves to eat my garden plants. It's about another week later, and our cucumber plants are big enough now we can take off bunny rabbit protection. Mr. Bunny Rabbit probably can't hurt these anymore. And we still have our little runt down here. It's not doing very much. And some weeds. A few days later, and we're starting to grow these little tendrils which grab onto things and help the cucumbers climb. So I know these say skewers on the package, but they're actually cucumber trainers. So we're going to stick these in, sharp end down, stick these into our soil, into kind of helping the cucumbers go the direction we want them to go. And these little tendrils are going to grab onto these sticks and start these plants going in the right direction. Now here's what's weird. If you show that little tendril where the stick is, just kind of touch him to it, he'll be wrapped right around that stick tomorrow. And there he is the next day, wrapped around the stick. We now have blossoms starting to appear. All of these are male blossoms, and I'm going to throw up some pictures to show you close-up differences. You have both female and male blossoms on the same plant, but the male blossoms are going to show up about 10 days before you have female blossoms, and that's for honeybees and nature all working together. But we're on our way. This is a male blossom. It is a stem with a flower right on top. This is a female blossom. It is a stem with a little tiny baby cucumber with the blossom on top of the little baby tiny cucumber. That little baby tiny cucumber will never actually become a real cucumber unless this blossom is pollinated. There's a couple of ways to pollinate this little female blossom. See the little cucumber? The first way is to take a paintbrush and dibble dab it in the center of the male blossom, and there's pollen all over this brush, and then dibble dab that in the center of the female blossom. The other way you can pollinate this is to pick a male blossom off the vine and then carefully remove all of his petals, and then take that center and dibble dab it in the center of the female blossom. Pollination complete. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to see more gardening videos.